Well, if you haven't figured it out by now, you are now officially in the graphic multiverse. I'm your host, Paul, joined with Angela.
Hello, hello.
Chandler.
Hi there.
And Ron.
Oh, that was lovely.
Thank you. Yeah. You guys always sing, and I don't, because I kick it off,
true.
so I thought it'd be my turn.
Thank you. We
My
appreciate
turn,
that.
yeah.
You took it up instead of taking it down. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to all of our lovely listeners, you get to listen to me eat popcorn in the background. I'm out of vodka. So.
Oh, the wow.
I like drink it all.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Alcoholic.
But we're responsible. Well, you're responsible. I'm
a responsible drinker. I'm very responsible.
You are. You absolutely are. But yeah, how is everyone doing this week? We're coming into the second week of June now. Holy cow!
I know.
We're in June. Hot ass June.
It is a hot ass June. It's so hot.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, faux sure. Yeah, everyone's doing okay, doing good, living life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chasing them dreams.
Girl bossing it.
Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss.
Yes, queen.
Yes. I have been looking forward to this session because I am so excited about the things that we're going to talk about. Because I know we took, I think, last week off, so we're back. And while we were away, there was some breaking news, not quite comic related, but I feel like pretty. It fits in well with the theme of the show, and that is about this writer you probably had to read in high school. John Steinbeck, The Grapes of Wrath, East of Eden, Red Pony, just to name a few. I heard a story on NPR.
Literary giant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally. Total literary giant. But yeah, he apparently wrote a werewolf murder mystery novel. And you have no idea, just that thought alone, how much that excites me. The dude who wrote Grapes of Wrath
It's just a werewolf.
wrote a werewolf murder mystery story.
I think it's a
Mice and
good
men.
thing for all the writers out there to just know that we all start from somewhere, and even Steinbeck had a werewolf mystery novel.
Yeah, and he was working on this 9 years before he wrote The Grapes of Wrath. And the name of it was called, or the manuscript was called Murder at Full Moon.
That's amazing.
That's a good title.
That's
Yeah,
great.
and it was completed in 1930.
Wow.
But was never published. And I guess there's only one copy sitting in an archive in Texas since 1969.
Wow.
And it includes drawings by Steinbeck.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it is.
Because you know it's garbage, and I want it. I want it so bad.
It's
No, because I think it's it's good for everybody.
well, yeah, because there's some people I talk to like who write or want to be writers, and they're like, oh, that's kind of beneath me. I'm like, dude, if fucking Steinbeck can punch out a werewolf murder mystery, you need to cool your jets, because
You gotta get all the shitty ideas out first before you start making.
Exactly.
First
Yeah.
off, a werewolf murder mystery is not a shitty idea.
As in poor writing technique.
yeah,
That could be a whole genre. Imagine Agatha Christie's werewolf murder mystery
I mean,
with Perot. I would give me that book. Give me all the literary giants werewolf murder mysteries.
yeah. So this is part of a story I read from the New York Times, where let me just see here that a scholar of American literature at Stanford University, apparently he's pushing for this book to be published, but the agents of Steinbeck's estate said no. Like a bunch of jerks. I just imagine a bunch of old stuffy librarians be like, no. But yeah, so the professor Gavin Jones he's, I guess, apparently still pushing to get this published. And his description of the book lit up literary Twitter and online book forums. Yes, long before Steinbeck was a Nobel laureate known for Depression-era literary classics, the financially struggling writer had tried his hand at mixing genres more typical of the era's pulp fiction. I was expecting a fragmented, bizarre, incomplete work, Professor Jones said, not to be confused with Indiana. Instead, he found a coherent, complete 233-page manuscript. It's a potboiler, but it's also the cauldron of central themes we see throughout Steinbeck's later works, he said. For this reason, he believes it's worth sharing with the public.
Yeah, he was selling that pretty hard. I mean,
Primordial soup. Ooh.
I
Don't they like money? Just publish it.
seriously, like, you think if I was dead and I like was a ghost and I found out my like great grandkids or somebody was like not releasing some bonkers ass book I wrote, I'd be like, what are you doing? Especially if they can make money off of it.
If I ever wrote one of like America's great novels, like ever, I expect that when I die, my surviving relatives will publish like my 14-year-old like fan fiction that I wrote. Like, I expect it because I'm an asshole and I've burned a lot of bridges.
Revenge publishing.
I expect it. Well, I think it's important too because like every person that we idolize, I think it's good to remember that like
they didn't come out
perfect. They get diarrhea sometimes. You know, they're human. We have to stop like, you know, idolizing people and putting them on these pedestals that, you know, I mean, it's one thing to just be like, oh, I really like respect the work that you did, but it's another thing to be like, oh my God, you were God.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like, calm down.
Yeah.
But I will say, he wrote that book in 9 days. And he was 28 years old. And again, he was, you know, struggling. So, you know, money will
He
do
probably
that.
had a toothache, went to the dentist. The dentist is like, oh, your tooth hurts? Here's a pound of cocaine. And then he was just like eating cocaine and writing about a werewolf.
Oh my God, that makes so much sense.
It was the
Yeah.
30s. It was a wild time. They're like, I have a hammer or cocaine. How do you want to deal with this?
And apparently the year before that, he wrote a book called Cup of Gold, a swashbuckling pirate adventure set in the Caribbean in the 1600s.
Oh my God. I want all of
He
these
should
stories.
have stuck with that track. He could have
Oh
been
my
like,
God.
yeah.
What could have been?
Yeah.
He could have been somebody that's John Steinbeck.
He could have been, you know, right?
Grapes of Wrath. Yeah, he wrote a book kids pretend they read in high school.
Right. Oh God.
Truth.
Yeah, it's but man, it just yeah, and I guess it like takes place like I think I was reading somewhere where it like I guess it like takes place like at some like golf resort and it opens with like a pet being murdered. And yeah, it's just, and then there's this like struggling PI who like is using his, you know, detective know-how with his love for Pulp Fiction to solve the case.
This sounds amazing.
Right?
Like,
If they don't want to release the
mean-
book, at least like I don't know, let some like director give it to like James Gunn or Edgar Wright or something to like make a movie of it.
can you imagine? Like, yeah, from the creator of The Grapes of Wrath, East of Eden.
And the director of
Cubs.
Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yes. Murder at Full Moon.
Dude, I'm
Starring Simon Pegg.
Works for me.
I love it.
Yeah. I would watch it. Anyway, I had to talk about it because I just thought that was so cool. I feel like my kind of nerd is showing. But, like, yeah, I just thought... I actually kind of feel really inspired by that.
You should.
Yeah.
You really should.
It's like, yeah.
Werewolf fic.
yeah,
Werewolf
anybody
fic. Werewolf fic.
can write the next great American werewolf novel in 9 days.
Do it.
Just got to start somewhere.
That's true. You got to start. So, but yeah. But moving on to other great writers, I want to talk about Jack Kirby because today's main topic is the Eternals. We had the first like official trailer drop recently. I think it looks amazing. And one of the things I noticed when this trailer came out was people texting me like, "Yo, I saw this Eternals trailer. Who the fuck are the Eternals?" And a lot of people don't know. a lot of people don't know a lot
I didn't.
about the Eternals,
Including
and
myself, somebody who has
Yeah.
like 10,000 comic books sitting right behind me. I have no idea. If somebody like, who are the Eternals? I'm like, one of those weird cosmic Marvel people. They probably talk to Galactus or some shit.
right.
It's also
Yeah.
kind of meta because no one in universe knows who they are either.
Exactly.
So quite fitting. Yeah, and so yeah, because I mean they literally have been around since, I don't want to say the beginning, but pretty close to the beginning. But in doing some research, Jack Kirby, with Stan Lee, X-Men, Avengers, he created Captain America with Joe Simon. At one point, you would think Marvel would want to keep a guy like that happy, but at one point he split from Marvel to go to DC, and DC was like, "Hey man, we'll give you your own book, do whatever you want." And Kirby wanted to kind of do like this, almost like a European style publication where like not as like an issue, but like a volume, and that's how like the New Gods came into being, like Darkseid and Mr. Miracle. That was all from Jack Kirby. And of course, that deal didn't pan out so much because Kirby wasn't getting the full control he wanted, because he wanted to be standalone, and DC was like, make Superman fight Darkseid. And so Kirby was like, Jesus Christ. And then Marvel's like, hey, we'll give you the DC deal and come back over. And Kirby's like, okay, but like for real this time, I want to do my own shit, and I wanted to be standalone. And so for the most part, it kind of is, even though it's happening in the Marvel universe. But yeah, Kirby was really big on doing some like God origin like stories. And so, we get the Eternals, and this is Kirby's baby. Like, it's written by him, it's drawn by him. There's no Stan Lee involvement. This is all Jack Kirby. And it's fascinating. I was talking to Rob beforehand. I was also reading up on the Marvel myths and legends. This is like Tolkien level origin story stuff. And so I'm excited.
Lore.
What's up?
It's straight lore.
Yeah, it really is. So I'm going to try to shed some light on the origins of the Eternals, but we're also going to do a book review of Neil Gaiman's The Eternals, which I think came out in
2006?
Yep.
Was 2006?
2006?
Wow.
It was, I assume just by the few references to the greater Marvel universe, it was mid-Civil War.
That's right. They do talk about registration. There's like a weird Reed Richards ad where, and then there's a lot of references. So yeah, you could definitely pinpoint where this happens.
I thought it was just funny because like Iron Man's like, so have you thought about registering? It's like, bitch, she's a god.
I know.
Like, wait, no, she ain't registering.
Yeah, Neil Gaiman's story is kind of cool because it's a reintroduction to the Eternals. Because I remember when that came out, I remember buying the issue because I love Neil Gaiman. But I remember reading and being like, I don't know who any of these people are. So it's kind of a cool reintroduction because not only are you discovering who the Eternals are, but the Eternals are discovering who they are. It's like a cool identity mystery type thing. So I've talked a lot. So let's dive into the review of the Eternals by Neil Gaiman with art by John Romita Jr.
Yeah. Before we dig into the story, I gotta say, John Romita Jr. is very much like a hit or miss artist for me. And I think it's just like when somebody like inks or colors him and they don't do it right, it looks terrible for some reason, in my opinion. But I thought this book looked really great, especially the like Celestials and the more like god-ish stuff. Some of his faces have the weird like rectangle noses and stuff. That's not fully my vibe, but
it looks kind of like somebody from Sesame Street.
Yeah, kind of. But like, I think overall, I thought the art in this book was really good. Anything that was kind of grand scale, like the Celestials or like when they're in their like outfits and stuff, I thought was really, really cool looking.
Yeah, he does cosmic very well. Like his when he did Captain America, when Captain America was in the Dimension Z with the Arnim Zola. Like, yeah, he does like otherworldly stuff really well, and he draws a great Spider-Man.
He does. That was my first
take.
Yeah, that was my first introduction to him back in the day with Peter Parker Spider-Man.
Yeah,
but I liked it a lot. I thought Neil Gaiman did a really good job writing it. It didn't seem. Nothing about it felt really dated, like some books from 20 years ago do. Like it still read like a modern book. The only thing that dated it was Iron Man referencing registering and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. That's a good point because I really feel like you could you could adapt that story to present day, and I think it would still work.
Yeah, more or less.
I mean, I think maybe somebody has a flip phone in it, but I think that's really.
But yeah, I thought
really
it did a really good job of introducing each of the key members of the Eternals team / family / whatever they are. But it also kind of like, it doesn't explain everything. Like I'm interested into how they got into the situation they were in, because that's not very much explained, like why nobody remembers who they are. And then there's some reference to Sprite causing
they
it all
did
happening.
kind of explain it.
They
Yeah,
did?
that's basically what happened. Yeah, Sprite basically like did the Unimind thing and like wiped everyone's memory.
Yeah, so they must have just like quickly brushed over that, but that did
It
happen
was like,
in this
literally
book,
a
right?
panel.
Okay, yeah.
It was literally one panel.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a bit where Sprite kind of. Oh yeah, spoiler alert. Sprite is kind of like their Loki, and he's in child form, so he really can't age because he's
He's really
eternal.
mad about it.
Yeah, I mean I would be too.
Oh
I mean,
yeah, I thought that was really interesting when he's like, yeah, being 11 all the time, watching all of you guys go off and bang each other and shit.
I mean, it's great motivation for a bad guy, because it's like, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I probably wouldn't be too happy about it either. Would I have gone down this road? I don't know, but you get it.
After a couple million years, maybe.
In addition to that, even like Druig's character, like I didn't even think he was like that bad, because like he was betrayed. So it's like, I'm getting revenge and reinstalling my nation. I'm like, cool, all right, go for it.
Yeah, I love the way the font was whenever they would talk. It's like, I think this is Russian.
Yeah, it's
but
like
you can tell the way.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Russian font. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
It was weird because it wasn't even like a Russian font. It just had like lines through all the O's, but in my brain that turned into Russian.
Yeah.
So they
Like,
knew what they were doing.
Make it look Eastern European.
exactly.
We don't know.
And of course, and for me, I instantly go into like Bond villain, Russian bad guy.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, it was a very like Soviet.
Yeah.
Like-
the
Yeah.
moose and squirrel.
Yeah.
We get the Eternals. Deviants forever.
Yeah, making him like the bad guy, I guess. Yeah.
It was cool because he's also, like sweet and innocent, but he's not.
But yeah. All in all, I thought it was very
Right.
interesting. I'd like what it's set up, and I'd be interested to read more Eternal stuff.
I like how they just hit the ground running. Like
Yeah.
Mercury's at like his job, and like Icarus shows up like, hey, what if I told you were like a 500,000-year-old
Yeah.
god? He's like, gotta go.
I did like that. Yeah, and I just love how like, yeah, he is just struggling. Like, yeah, I just had like a 28-hour shift, and can't sleep. Girlfriend broke up with me. Student loan company's calling me.
Relatable.
Yeah, so when Icarus shows up, be like, dude, what if I told you? And like, he's just like, I am not. I don't have the mental bandwidth for this right now. Like, you need to go away. Then he fucking shows up at his apartment, like on the fire escape.
Yeah,
like,
just
dude,
banging
what
on the window.
Yeah.
I love that Cersei's
Yeah.
like a scammer. I love it.
Well,
I'm a party planner.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting though the relationship between Cersei and Makari, because they're trying to make these eternal lovers, but then looking at the cast, you see that Makari's played by a woman, and I was like, oh, that would be really cool if they do this like eternal love story with two women. That would be amazing. And then it was like, oh, but with the trailers you see that they just swapped like Robb Stark, so
Yeah.
for that and then Jon Snow. So
Right,
it's like
as Dane Whitman. 'Cause I know Cersei and Black Knight are a couple, but I mean, you never know. I mean, again, millions of years. Maybe they're really cool about just swinging.
Well, there was references in this comic of like various different people pairing up over the span
Right.
of millennia. So
Yeah, it was like for 100,000 years you guys were cool. Then she cheated on you, and you guys got back together. Then 100,000 years later, you cheated on her, and blah 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 blah. But no, I've always been a big fan of like kind of like magic or like a superpower kind of like permeating in everyday life, and like and like nobody knows it. Mm-hmm. I'm a sucker for stuff like that. Like and this is so up Neil Gaiman's alley. Like you look at American Gods and Neverwhere, just kind of all of these cool mystical magical things.
even this like Sandman, which was kind of like a weird mystical thing in the background of the DC universe.
Yeah. So
pretty good.
he was like kind of perfect. I would have loved to have seen how they got him to do it. Or
He was writing not a lot of comics back then, but didn't he write 1602 also?
Yes, he
did?
did. I loved that too.
That's a fun one.
Yeah, that was around the same time, like at least within a year or two of this coming out.
Yeah. Maybe they're like, okay, listen, if you reboot one of our old stories, you can do whatever you want. It's like, okay, I want to do a story in 1602. Cool. Whatever. Just give us Eternals. But yeah, no, yeah, it's good stuff. And I think and this couldn't have been an easy story to write because there is a lot of backstory that has to be conveyed.
But they were pretty good about like not dumping a lot of exposition. They kind of just like put out like little chunks. So I'm like, this is cool. I
that
can
was
follow
smart.
this.
They did.
Yeah, and
cover it
I
out
think
really
it
nicely.
kind of being told from different perspectives too, because you
Yeah.
even kind of get like the Deviant's perspective on things. And I'm excited to see how they're going to do the Deviants in the live action movie. So the Deviants are just basically they're the bad guys for the Eternals, and they're demon like. They're kind of like shapeshifters, and they're monstrous looking, but super intelligent. So I guess the backstory is so that there was this single universe that came into being. It was like the first firmament, was self-aware and lonely, and so what it decided to do was it kind of made other godlike beings, and they were in two factions. There was those that wanted to worship the first firmament unconditionally, and there was the other group that like, well, I don't want to sit around and just kiss somebody's ass all day. I want to go out and I want to explore and I want to experiment. Those were the Celestials, and I guess a war broke out between the two of them, and it was like cataclysmic almost, and so in killing each other they kind of broke up into different pieces and created alternate realities. That's how we got the multiverse, and so the Celestials went out and started exploring and experimenting where they could, and then you have this one Celestial who was infected by the Horde, which gets talked about in Neil Gaiman's Eternals. He's infected, he's dying, he's like going insane by the amount of pain he's in. And so and this is total happenstance, he lands on Earth while Earth is still forming. And so he dies there. So his decaying flesh and bones go into the Earth, and that's sort of what makes the Earth so unique and special in the Marvel Universe. Basically, that's kind of where like it basically is the reason why we have superheroes. That's basically where like why we're able to have mutants and all kinds of crazy shit and gods and all of that stuff. And so whilst on Earth, they experimented on humans. Cavemen. Two offshoots, you had the Deviants, which is kind of like the first draft, I guess. That didn't really, didn't leave in the oven long enough or too long. I don't know. And so they were like devil-like looking things, and so they kind of burrowed underground, and then the next iteration was the Eternals, and they were like beautiful and full of power, and and then they were kind of the Deviants and Eternals didn't like each other. But what I like about all of this backstory that Kirby does is that it kind of sets up not just Marvel lore, but it also explains the lore that we have. Like, at one point, Deviants like enslaved millions of humans. And so with basically in being cruel slaves of the humans, this is where the idea of hell came from. These like horned demon looking things fucking whipping people in flames underground. That's sort of where the concept of hell comes from. And at one point when the Celestials, so the other thing too is that when the Celestials made these guys and gals, they left, and they would come back every gazillion years to check on the progress. So one of the times they come back, the Deviants don't really give a shit because they kind of thought they were lords of the earth, and then when they see how fucking massive these guys are, their first response is kill it. And the Celestials dropped a bomb on where the Deviants lived, and it caused it like flooded the world, and so one of the Eternals actually built an ark and tried to gather up as many life forms as it could. And so yeah, then that's where the notion of like Moses and the Ark came from.
No, Noah.
What did I say, Moses?
Yeah.
I always do that. You know how many times I got slapped in the face by a nun for getting that wrong? But yeah, and that was when the Eternals were like, oh, maybe we should be guiding humanity. We should be protecting humanity, because they're our cousins, so to speak. And so that's, so that's like a super condensed version of the Eternals and the Deviants and the roles that the Celestials play. Gotta
say, I love the panel in like the first issue when it shows the Celestials on Earth like building their factory. They just like all these giant Eternals just like plugging in tubes that are the size of like a city.
Yeah, and they're like stone, right? Aren't they like they're
like
stone
everything's made out
machines?
Of stone.
That's
just dropping a bunch of naked cave people into this box, and there's like beep.
Yep.
Yeah.
An easy bake.
And wasn't there and then the Deviants tell a backstory too, don't they, about how because the Celestials were starting to eat the Deviants.
Well, they were food.
They're very tasty
for the Celestials. Yeah.
And then
which makes sense of why they'd be a little pissy about it.
Right, but then there's one Celestial who tried to stop it, and he got ganged up on by other Celestials.
And that's the black one that's on Earth, right?
The Dreaming Celestial.
Yeah.
That was gold, but it... Yeah.
When the Dreaming Celestial tried to explain it, though, he was like, you wouldn't understand the concepts, like, of why they had this falling out, because it would be like explaining, like...
Christianity to a blade of grass.
Yeah, Christianity to a blade of grass. Yeah.
I love that.
I always love, when they try to explain, like, knowledge gaps in a way like that.
Yeah. Christianity to a blade of grass, yeah. Your head would explode if I try to tell you what the dealio was. But I also like that sleeping Celestial, that's what the Deviants pray to, because he tried to save us and he was betrayed, and so yeah, I love that bit too, like that scene where they go and they're like in their cave and there's the I almost call them holograms, the hieroglyphics,
cave paintings.
Yeah. So like I said, I'm just a sucker for fake history.
Oh no, I mean. Yeah, I go down the lore holes hard sometimes. You're just in bed and you're just like, go to like Wikipedia and you're just like reading about like, why is this mutant like this? You're just like,
right, yeah. So good though. But when I didn't know that bit though about the Celestial dying on Earth and like decaying into the Earth, like that fucking blew my mind. I was like, oh, because you know how in stories it's always like, oh, it's always Earth. Like, why does everything happen on Earth? Why does everything come to Earth? And that's why. And even the Skrulls, the reason why they shapeshift, Celestials, because Celestials were experimenting on them. And Thanos has a tie to the Eternals.
It's a deviant gene.
Yeah, there's so at one point, because the Eternals, kind of like the Celestials and their brothers, that one side thought that, I think it was Kronos actually, Kronos thought that we should help mankind, and Uranus was like, no, fuck that shit. Like, we got all the strength, let's make the world as we want it. So another war broke out. They sent Uranus, he got banished to space. He set up camp on a moon of Saturn, Titan. And then two other brothers, Alars, and the other dude's name, sorry. There's a lot of weird names to keep track of. But they're like, okay, well, I'm going to stay here, take care of this Earth faction, and you go to the moon of Saturn there. And then Alars changed his name to the Mentor, and had Thanos. So he's like this weird eternal deviant dude. So it's all connected. And also crazy to think that, like, wait, so how the fuck old is Thanos to be,
pretty damn
like
old.
You say Than old?
Pretty damn old.
Oh,
that works too.
It's like Thanos is Than old.
I read one of like the Thanos origin story books from like the past 5 years, not too long ago, but I've completely forgot the age in there. Just it's that weird. He's like a bullied kid, and then he like murders somebody
because he was ugly.
Yeah.
And his mom didn't want him.
Yeah, he's got that weird butt chin. I mean,
let's be real. It's a ball sack chin.
It's got the
scrotum chin.
It's a ball sack chin.
Yeah.
Speaking of ball sections, I don't know. Do you guys remember in Men in Black 2, there's a species of aliens called ball chinians, and they literally had balls on their chins?
Yep.
That's the worst joke ever written into a movie.
And somebody got a nice
timeless.
paycheck for that.
I mean, it's up there.
But didn't Tony Shalhoub play that alien too?
I saw Men in Black 2 once, and I was upset.
I was too.
I love Men in Black 1, to go on a tangent. One of my favorite movies. But
Yeah.
anyway, The
It was pretty
Eternals.
fun.
The Eternals. Yeah. So I thought
And I love that there's like 100 of them.
yes.
So that's pretty cool.
What was really
Yeah.
messed up at the end where Icarus is like, we have to find the rest of the 90 Eternals, and then Mercury's like, you expect me to like go and like damn these 90 poor souls? And Icarus is like,
Yeah.
sure, race ya. I'm like, damn, Jesus Christ.
Dude, I thought it was crazy how Zuras, he's kind of like the leader of the Eternals. Oh, that was the other guy's name, Zuras. Alaris was his brother, Anyway, Zuras fucking snapped Sprite's neck.
Oh, yeah.
And just left him on the train.
He deserved it.
That was fucking intense.
Well, he's a celebrity. They have to
damn.
find his dead body. He can't just disappear.
Oh, yeah.
Just crazy. I know, but just
And he's like, you haven't been a child in a long time. It's like, oh.
You got me.
Guess you ain't that eternal.
Well, he turned himself immortal.
Right. Oh yeah.
So that's why he could get his neck snapped.
That's right. That was his whole thing.
He wanted to be mortal so he could not be 11 anymore, which I think
Makes
that's
sense.
really good, like,
It's very practical.
motivation.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd hate that.
Oh my god.
Oh, get it
Yeah.
out. Being stuck in like a prepubescent boy's body would be a nightmare.
For eternity?
Exactly.
Ugh.
Or just like always stuck in the throes of puberty.
Seriously.
Oh, man.
Looking at Icarus being like,
stop.
oh, must be nice.
Yeah.
Stuck in that bronze god of a body.
Breaking out every week.
Yeah.
Pimples.
I like that Icarus wasn't like the main character. Like he's an important role
Yeah.
in it, obviously. But I like that it was Mercury that was kind of like the he was the avatar for the audience that
And for the Jimmy Celestial, he's like Jesus now.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I loved.
I didn't really understand at the end though, because the Celestial's like, I'm gonna think about this, and I thought it was like at the end of the day, he's like, I'll give you my judgment, but I guess it's
It's when the
not.
last
for a
shadow
cel-
falls or something like that.
Yeah, to a celestial. I mean, that could mean anything.
Right.
Oh, okay. I thought it was
I
too
feel like-
stupid to get it.
They must have referenced a giant standing celestial in San Francisco at some point in the,
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
X-Men books, right?
In X-Men.
Okay.
Yep. Utopia.
Yep,
Yeah.
okay.
When they go to San Francisco and there it is.
Yeah, because I remember when that happened, I'm like, this reminds me of when the X-Men were out here. So
Yeah.
I now understand why there was a big.
Well, and I like too. It's like a tourist thing, right? Aren't there like tourists at one
Yeah,
point? that
the
have a leg?
last issue is just like after everything happens, and they're just kind of hanging
Yeah.
out. The friggin' remaining like deviants come, and they're just like, let's
Yeah.
fight, and like we don't want to, and then like, well, whatever, let's just murder you all.
I loved. I did like seeing the inclusion of other Marvel characters in there. Like, I mean, like again, it's like seeing like
got
Hank
kinda
Pym and the
jobbed,
Wasp. What's up?
They got kind of jobbed though. They were kind of like made a little like ineffectual, which is kind of annoying. But
Yeah,
Oh, I actually kind of like that.
I thought it was funny how they just had like
I did too.
Yellow Jacket just stand there.
Go stand in the
Go sit down.
corner.
Yeah, block the sun for a little bit. Big
Yeah,
dumb idiot.
yeah,
It's great.
yeah. I think I liked it because I feel like sometimes with Avengers, depending on how they're written, they're very full of themselves and how like, whoa, we're like
Condescending. They're
Yeah.
very condescending
Yeah.
sometimes.
So the fact that they'd be like, okay, that's cute. That you think that you know.
And they're
what's
like,
going
oh
on.
yeah, Tony Stark's fine. He's just creeping on us over there. So
he was like
Right.
the whole time.
Oh, he's just faking
yeah,
it.
he's faking it.
Yeah, yeah, that's so great. That, yeah. Despite all your experience and your knowledge,
Well,
how
and
intelligent you are.
At that point, too, Tony Stark was particularly condescending.
Ugh, that is the worst. I feel like that Civil War was the worst thing to happen to Tony Stark.
Character
Yeah, it-
assassination up and down.
Absolutely character assassination, 100%. In reading Eternals, was like, oh yeah, I forgot, like tearing open new wounds.
Yeah, I remember I reread Civil War not
Was
too
even
long
more-
ago.
was even more annoying was that they tried to put him on the right side of history for Civil War II. I'm like, no, we remember. The North remembers. You were an asshole.
Yeah, seriously.
Right.
Didn't we read Civil War? Did we do like a book club on that like in the past couple years?
We did for the movie.
Did we do it for Civil War the movie, or was it for another Captain America movie?
I thought it was for Civil War, but I could
We've
be wrong.
been doing the show for a long time. That's very possible.
Right. Yes. So,
Together.
Civil War 2. I forgot about that shit.
Yeah, it was Minority. It was like Minority Report. Mm-hmm. Should you arrest somebody before they do the crime?
No.
Like, dude, somewhere Tom Cruise has like a throbbing like vein in his head. Someone's ripping off his
I
property.
actually really liked that movie.
I do too.
Oh, I love Minority Report.
Oh yes. No, it's great. I mean, yeah, no, like the technology, the cars, it's all great. Even the only thing I really did not like about that movie was when he's chasing his own goddamn eyeballs down a hallway.
What?
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
I haven't seen that
Have
movie
you
in a
not seen
long
it,
time.
No, I haven't.
It's really good. That was.
Oh yeah, it's good. I mean, I own it.
It is
I should own it.
very early 2000s.
I feel like
That's-
Spielberg was making some cool shit in the early 2000s, though. With Tom Cruise, I love the World of Worlds movie they made together too. That still holds up, I think.
I haven't
I
seen
don't
it.
know.
I haven't seen it in a long time. But
Wasn't that the one where Tim Robbins is like
Yeah,
in
he's the creepy
basement?
basement Tim Robbins. Yeah.
I couldn't keep a serious face after that.
it's like Andy Dufresne. What happened?
It has a terrible ending because Tom Cruise's
Yes.
son is alive. He's like,
Yeah,
surprise,
fuck that guy.
happy ending. And I'm just like,
That's the only thing I'm not wild about. I'm very critical on Spielberg on is the happy ending because the original line or the original ending for Minority Report. Because you remember how when the precogs are all in that cabin and they're reading books and they're away from everybody so they can't pick up the future visions. The final thing was going to say that since the precogs were removed from isolation or from the police, that murders jumped up 450%, and that's when the movie ended. And I guess Spielberg couldn't. It was too much of a downer, and I'm like, but that's realistic, though. I mean, come on.
yeah. That's I remember hearing an interview once where he was saying like he would never be able to write the like family scenes from Close Encounters that way anymore, just because he's like the dad in that movie is a asshole.
Yeah,
and a bad dad.
Yes.
But it worked for the character in the movie.
Very selfish.
yeah. But just speaking on movies for a second, in reading Neil Gaiman's Eternals and doing this research, it has left me more. I don't want to say confused, but more of a how are they going to do this movie? Mm-hmm. I'm very curious to see. I mean, are they going to be amnesiacs? Maybe not. I don't know. Probably not. Maybe. I don't know. I got nothing.
In the trailer, though, like they make mention of like Tony Stark being gone and stuff like that, so it seems
Right.
like they have some idea of like what was going on.
Well, I mean, they might be aware. Maybe I don't know. But that was nice. That was a nice nod, I think, for people who aren't initiated.
Yeah.
That like, oh, okay, so this is happening.
I started reading the next one.
Yeah, I saw there's
The
one
next series.
in like 2008 or something.
Yeah. There's a couple actually. There's a couple runs, so I'm gonna catch up, see what it's about.
Yeah, I think I will too. I'm intrigued.
I'm really excited about. Sorry, I'm eating popcorn.
I'm just chewing gum now, so I'm just being
Well,
obnoxious.
Kieran Gillen and Esad Ribic are doing a book right now, apparently. Good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, the art's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I just looked at like the first page and I'm like, yep. It's like Icarus getting out of a chamber naked. I'm just like, Esad Ribic knows how to draw Thor-looking dudes.
Very nice.
Yeah. But I'm, with Eternals being on the horizon, that Marvel will be like, okay, we got to push out some Eternal shit.
Mm-hmm.
So people know who the fuck they are.
Oh man, I gotta read
Right.
this. This book is a good looking book.
What was I going to say? Eternals, good looking book. How are they going to adapt it? Shit. Oh yeah, I'm really excited for Kit Harington coming in as Dane Whitman, aka the Black Knight, because he becomes an Avenger, and Cersei becomes an Avenger in the books. So
now does the Black Knight? Okay, this is me being like really ignorant. Does the Black Knight have anything to do with the Moonlight Knight? Moon Knight. I'm sorry.
No.
Oh, okay.
I said the
no,
Moonlight
they're not related,
Knight.
No, Moonlight Knight was Tuxedo Mask's
Right, Sailor Moon.
character
I thought
in
I was
Sailor
like,
Moon.
is she fucking with me right now?
I'm sorry.
You're like, oh, are they also friends with the Dark Knight?
No. I wanted to know if they were like affiliated with like the Moon Knight.
Is
No.
is
Sorry.
he an Eternal, or is he just like Eternal adjacent?
Black? No, he's
Black Knight?
He's mortal.
Yeah, he's
I don't know much
Yeah,
about him.
Black-
I remember reading like the Avengers '80s books with him on the team, but never really
Black
delving
Knight's
deeper.
kind of. I think it's just kind of like a mantle type thing that you take on. But because there's different Black
Yeah,
Knights.
the ebony blade's enchanted and it like passes.
Yes,
down.
the ebony blade. Yeah. So, but yeah, Dane Whitman, it would be a really cool addition to the Avengers lineup, especially. I mean, because I can't help but get excited about what the new Avengers lineup will look like. As if you have Miss Marvel and Doctor Strange, Black Knight, Spider-Man,
The Moonlight Knight.
Moonlight Knight. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a subplot when Tuxedo Mask like forgot his
That's
identity.
right. And he was
then it was like a weird like poltergeist version of himself like projected, because there was still like a subconscious level in his brain that he knew he needed to protect Sailor Moon.
but also that he had to wear a costume and a
But
cape.
he did wear an Arabian Night costume.
Dude, when I first
and
saw
throw
that
white roses.
when I first saw that cartoon with you, every time the Moonlight Knight appeared, every fucking time I heard that song by Sting, Desert Rose. I dream of rain. Like that was always like
I would love that.
Speaking of Sailor Moon, there's new Sailor Moon movies that came out on Netflix, like new ones.
Yes.
And I don't know
Yes.
anything about Sailor Moon. I've never seen any of it. Growing up, I would always catch the last 5 minutes before Dragon Ball Z, and that's all.
Jump into the deep end. Just
That's
watch
what I'm
them.
saying. Let's watch those movies and talk about them.
Okay, so I really want to watch them, but I haven't watched I haven't caught up with the whole series, and so I want to do it in order.
Is there a new series
Because-
to watch too?
No, I mean, so they basically, okay, so there's Sailor Moon, then there's Sailor Moon R,
Okay.
then it's Sailor Moon
Moonlight
S.
Knight.
No, it's Sailor Moon S. Sailor Moon, no, Moonlight Knight is in Sailor Moon R in the beginning of it. And then there's Sailor Moon S, then there's Sailor Moon Super S, and then I think it's Sailor Moon
Stars. Is it?
Stars, yeah, the Sailor Stars.
Never adapted. Translated.
Well, no, but they did release it, the original version of it, which I think is on Hulu. I don't know why my voice got so high when I said that, but
because you
I think
love
it's
talking
on
about
Hulu.
Sailor Moon.
I do.
So
I can
your
talk about
voice-
Sailor Moon
That's
all day.
a lot more homework than I wanted to do.
Yeah, but
But-
as like somebody who, I mean, I pretty much just need to watch. I need to finish S, Super S, and Stars.
Oh, sorry.
Stars I
Start
never
playing
saw.
it.
Can we just watch
Stars
Crystal?
I never saw.
Or is this Crystal kind of like?
So
make it-
Crystal, I think, is a good. I think Crystal is good if you just want to catch up on like plot and just see like, okay, what do I need to know? Because Crystal is more based off of the manga. Because when Sailor Moon initially came out, the anime was actually being produced faster than the manga, so that's why you had so many Monster of the Week filler episodes, because they didn't know where the story was going, so they just like kept on and then and then once she would put out another chapter, then they can go from there. But so Crystal just kind of follows the manga. And the only thing about Crystal, though, I mean, it's beautiful, it's lovely, it is Sailor Moon, but what I loved about the anime was that they really fleshed out a lot of the characters and like dug into their personalities. So like Ray's personality in Crystal is very different from her personality in the original.
I'll need to find some like greatest hits list somebody on Reddit made of Sailor Moon episodes.
There's a part of me though that kind of does want to jump in blind.
I'll just jump.
Okay.
I will
Let's
just
just
jump
watch
in
it.
blind and watch that
Let's
movie,
just-
and let's just talk
let's
about
watch
it.
the movie. Let's watch it. I'm down. I'll do it.
Should we like live stream it? Should we just like all watch it together? Like we'll just go like 1, 2, 3, play, and then we'll just record our responses. I've actually always wanted to do that with you guys.
Just do a
to
stream.
be real.
Like a watch party.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, but it's like a movie though, right?
I'm on Netflix right now. I'm typing in Sailor Moon, seeing what it's going to show me.
Yeah, it's a movie.
Well, it says like it's one season. Oh, it's a movie, part
movie.
1. It's an hour and 21 minutes. Like it's standard movie lengths.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, Sailor Moon Eternal, part 1.
But
It's
you
an hour
gotta
and
know,
20
like,
minutes.
if you want to watch Crystal, just so you know who's who and what the whole gist is, like,
Is there like a Sailor Moon movie from the 90s that also is completely
there
out of...
are 3. There are 3.
I'm a big fan of
you know
watching
what?
random 90s anime movies.
Yeah. Angela,
But they're not going to make any sense.
Oh,
so.
of course not, but...
I don't know. I kind of like the idea of you doing like a Sailor Moon episode. Just
Can
being
I?
like,
Do you want me to just bring you guys up to speed and like do like we'll do an episode where I just like cull the need to know episodes?
Sure.
I'm gonna need help
that
with
would be
that though.
that would be fun though.
I'm gonna
'cause
need
then-
other Sailor Moon fans.
I'll try to
help me
find a
with
list that... Because I'm interested. It's a blind spot in my, like...
Well,
All right.
And I'll say this. I didn't know anything about Sailor Moon until obviously Ange and I got together. We lived together. And I have to say, I really thoroughly enjoyed watching Sailor Moon.
It's funny.
It's funny.
It's funny. Like in the 90s.
There was a point though, remember, because it just had fucking cliffhangers. Okay, one more. I know the
Well,
sun's
and you
coming up,
couldn't-
but one more.
You couldn't handle the third time that Mamoru and Usagi got split up. You could not. You're like, I can't do this again. You were so upset.
I was getting too invested.
You were so upset. Like, and
I felt bad for her.
yeah,
Well, the
He's always
original
forgetting
series is
her.
all on Hulu, so I can
yeah.
get on there. Sailor Moon Crystal also on Hulu.
But they're like, I kind of want to pick out some like amazing episodes for you to watch. So I can actually do that tonight. I can actually pick out my favorites that I think you should see because there are moments like there's one episode where like the villain sets up a shop for like charms and like fortune telling and like just a bunch of like just shitty like fake like psychic stuff. Like it's like a new age shop. And everybody knows it's garbage. And what the villains are set it up so they could like, I don't know, capture like souls or something. You know what they do. And they like trying to capture hearts or some weird shit. And
Like you do.
And Usagi like is all in. And she buys these like love potions because she's trying to get Mamoru to like love her again. And they're like these big giant like jugs of just like green like tea or juice or something. And then she like keeps like
I remember that
drinking them and her
episode.
belly is just like completely distended and she just keeps getting fat.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of episodes where it's like Usagi gets fat. It's amazing.
I found an article on Medium.com that somebody wrote entitled, what is it? A filler reduced viewing guide to Sailor Moon. And there
that's a good
is a
idea.
list of about, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 10 episodes listed as the bare minimum. So perhaps I'll watch the bare minimum. Then there's also an expanded one saying required plus recommended episodes.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
I found a list like this for Dragon Ball Z like a couple years ago too, just to, like rewatch that.
Oh yeah, they do season 1 and season 2.
So yeah, I'm totally down for Sailor Moon episode. Because much like the Eternals, I know nothing about Sailor Moon.
And they both have Eternals in the title.
And they're both
just
like
Eternal.
reborn on Earth with no memories of their past
Girl,
lives.
get ready. It is so good.
I really enjoyed it, and I have to say, I think probably because watching it as an adult-ish, because right around the time I was trying to get into Dragon Ball Z, and I'm sorry, I guess I couldn't do it.
I don't
think if
blame
I-
you. I think if
If
I
I
didn't
saw
have
it as a kid,
yeah.
I would have loved it, no question. But I feel like I missed the boat. Sailor Moon, I was able to kind of like, because I thought for the first ever Dragon Ball, because everyone's like, you got to read Dragon Ball, then Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball was tough. It definitely felt like, I'm probably gonna piss off some people, but it kind of felt like made it up as they went. And
well, a lot of those stories were.
Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of that stuff was
because it's all like chapter by chapter.
Yeah.
So that's why you have like 10 episodes of them just like charging up their power.
Right. Well, the best thing about Dragon Ball that came out was my buddy Joey, back at the Seaport Hotel. He was super excited that I was reading Dragon Ball because he loved Dragon Ball. He's like, oh, yo, did you get to this part yet? Did you get to this part yet? And so I was like, dude, I got a question about Goku. So is he like a weremonkey? And he's like, no. He just turns into a monkey when the moon's full.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, that's a weremonkey. Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. He's a weremonkey. Like that's just having that exchange with Joey was worth reading the books. But I don't know. But I am
He's actually
excited
a
to do Sailor.
All right.
You were just saying.
You're just saying.
Actually, in Invincible, the what is Omni-Man's species?
Viltrumite.
The Viltrumites. They kind of reminded me of Saiyans, just going
Yeah.
around and conquering planets and all that good stuff.
As one does.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm down for the next episode being a Sailor Moon extravaganza.
Sailor Moon.
Yeah, I'm working from home a lot this week, which means
Yeah.
I'll be watching a
If
lot
you
of
can
Sailor Moon on
watch
that TV
them-
behind me.
If you can watch the original like Japanese, because the music is amazing. It is so freaking cheesy. It's incredible. And then there's like cut scenes for like the commercial breaks. It's like just like a bunch of dudes yelling like Sailor Moon.
It's so funny.
It's hilarious and it's worth it. Oh my god, their use of saxophone and like it's just
Disco.
the music is so good. This is my favorite part.
Yeah.
Then again, the '90s one was pretty great too.
Yeah.
So
All
know
right.
what? Do what you
Yeah,
want.
heard it here first. We're going to. Well, not Sailor Moon's not a place, but we're gonna be checking out
we
Sailor
can
Moon.
we can go to the Moon Kingdom
That's true.
or Neo Tokyo.
Ew.
Oh. I love it.
I'm the biggest loser.
No, dude, look who you married.
Neo Tokyo from Akira.
Look who you're friends with.
No, it's Neo Crystal Tokyo.
Okay.
excuse me.
I was say Neo
So it's
Tokyo
the
and Akira
girlier-
seems like a bad place
It's
to
the
be.
girlier version.
I was like, oh, it's New England. No, it's New Crystal England.
Oh,
Thanks.
God. Crystal
Yeah.
Light England.
Gotta love that '90s anime fashion too. Buckle up.
I love 90s
It's a good
anime.
time.
That's like, I just don't have the time to watch as much new anime because there's a billion episodes of every show.
Yeah,
But I'm just like, all right,
It's good
I'll try to
stuff.
catch up on just the 90s.
it's
The
good stuff.
essentials.
Yeah.
Faux show.
Speaking of 90s anime, though, I started rewatching Cowboy Bebop this week.
That's
Been a long
a blind
time.
spot for
That
me.
show
I gotta watch that.
has such just a cool vibe. It's just a cool show. It's like when people are like, man, that's a cool guy. You're just talking about.
Did you get to the mushroom episode yet?
I've only watched the first 2 episodes recently.
Okay.
I've seen it all many years ago.
Oh, okay.
But I'm just
okay.
rewatching it now. But yeah,
Nice. Yeah. Well, I mean, and it's also a great lead into our next segment about what we've been reading and watching this week. But Cowboy Bebop is on my list because I try watching it, and the person who was trying to introduce me to it kind of ruined it. So, but enough time has passed.
it's
I think
just
I've gotten over it.
super like, it's just cool. It's got like it's cool jazz music and the action's awesome. Animation's cool.
I have heard nothing but great things about Cowboy Bebop, so I think it's just kind of making it a point to sit down and watch. But one thing Angela and I did watch recently, we watched a Studio Ghibli, Porco Rosso.
That's one of the many blind spots for me in his
Oh, wow, yeah.
filmography.
It's one of the
Well,
old
I
ones.
wanted to see it because, so it's a blind-ish spot for me too. All the movies I first saw, I actually saw with Angela, like Howl's Moving Castle, Kiki's
Frankie.
Delivery Service, Spirited Away, and I really wanted to see Porco Rosso because it was just a pig, a twirly mustache, flying fighter planes, and I wanted to watch it, and I enjoyed. I know it's not probably as beloved as his other stuff, but I thought it was great. And also Michael Keaton does the voice of Porco Rosso, the English dub, which usually I'm not a fan of doing the English dub, but I mean it's Michael Batman Keaton.
Most of the Studio Ghibli stuff is like the dubs are pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I
I
mean,
enjoyed it.
they had the older brother from Everybody Hates Raymond as like the lead pirate, and
Oh yeah, he
yeah.
was good actually.
he was
did a
good.
great
And
job.
you had Wesley from Princess Bride as Curtis, right? The American
Oh yeah,
cowboy.
He did 2 Studio Ghibli dubs.
Yeah, 'cause
is
he
it
was-
Ghibli or Ghibli?
I'm not
I
gonna.
say Ghibli personally.
Ghibli.
Ghibli.
I've said
Ghibli.
Ghibli. I know I'm saying it wrong, and I apologize
I think
to
it's Ghibli.
any Japanese listeners we have that know how to
Any
pronounce it.
fans?
If
yeah.
anybody's listening,
Yeah.
we apologize.
Yeah. But no, but I really liked it. I thought it was really fun. Yeah, it's like they're like, yeah. Well, I also like it's in a weird alternate version of world history. Like it's after World War One.
Beginning of World War II.
Yeah, and but we also have these kind of really cool fighter jets that totally didn't exist, and they're like sky pirates, kind of. Loved it.
Fun
Yeah.
stuff.
Fun stuff. I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, and RuPaul's Drag Race Australia. We're watching.
I am not liking it.
Really?
I'm not liking it.
It's because you don't like Australia.
Yes.
It is a cursed land.
No. There's been some like glaring issues, and I'm not happy.
Okay.
The editing's pretty garbage too, but you know.
All right then. Well, we'll move on from RuPaul then. What else have we been?
But they released All Star season 6, like
I'm excited about that.
cast and stuff, so that's fun.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. What else have we been?
I mean, we've been basically watching a ton of Studio Ghibli and or Ghibli and reading Eternal. So
Yeah,
that's
reading
pretty
Eternals.
much it.
One thing I'm excited about, Rob. I think you'll appreciate this. Some new Legends figures that I got. They made a Doctor Doom from Secret Wars, so it's got the
Fancy.
Isad
Doom.
Ribic. Yeah, yeah. I love it. I love how he doesn't have like a shirt. I mean, granted, it's armor, but you know.
It's pretty great.
Just a cloak and the skirt for Doom. And you know what I also love? It also comes with, remember that part in the book when Doctor Doom rips out Thanos' skull and spine? Mm-hmm. It comes with a Thanos skull and spine.
Oh, jeez.
It's
He does a
fantastic.
Mortal Kombat fatality on
Yeah, where
Thanos.
is that thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I was just gonna say where did the spinal column go? Well, it's somewhere.
Oh yeah, I was using it to sing.
That's right. We're using it to say. It's around somewhere, but
Yeah,
it's
I
pretty-
sang the I've had
right, yeah.
the time of my life.
That's right. That is what you did. That was the
Lovely.
thing that was done.
And I go through every open door. Yes, I swear.
Well, I got it.
There it is.
Oh, cool. Scrotum, chin, and all.
Yeah. So the chin is from his bones. It's not just saggy skin.
Right.
So Thanos
Yeah.
is keeping it tight. I didn't know that.
Moisturized.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what he does in the morning when he gets ready. When he applies the lotion, like perfectly balanced, as everything should be.
He has like
pH
the
balanced.
he has like the jade roller.
That would be funny. Love it. So, what have you guys been watching, reading, listening?
Not much. I've been still reading the Last Man comic, not to be confused with Why the Last Man, completely different series. It's good. It's like kind of like a not typical, but it's like a shonen fighting kind of manga kind of vibe, but it's like European flavored, and kind of has like a fantasy element too. It's fun, and I've also been catching up on My Hero Academia, which is like now in its 5th season. So
I know I want to watch that. I've heard really good things about that
I
too.
like it. It's
That's
good.
I've actually watched like 30 episodes of that. For a modern anime, that's probably the one I've watched the most of. And
And you like it?
yeah,
It's like
I
a
dig
love
it.
letter to superheroes. You know, it's cool.
Yeah, like a lot of shonen anime, every time the lead character just like gets dramatic and just cries because he's a little baby, gets a little old
cries so
after a
much.
while,
I love
and it's
it.
like, all right, I could just suck it up, man. Save
No,
the
it's his
world already.
personality. He's a
I know.
Cancer. He has to cry.
Hey,
I am also a Cancer.
I'm sorry, Paul. It's not a bad thing.
that was like a Robert De Niro cry.
I do cry at everything, although it's not usually because of my not living up to
Birth
my
sign.
superhero-ness or something.
Oh.
It's usually somebody starts telling a slightly sad story and I start tearing up.
Are you a Cancer as well?
Yes.
Oh yeah, no, it's because you're a Cancer.
Oh yeah, that's right, Rob. When's your birthday?
July 9th, the day Black Widow
July
comes
n-
out.
Ooh, happy birthday to you. July 9th. Wow, we do know a lot of July babies. Bebes.
Bebes.
That's cool, man. You did tell me that. I'm sorry. You told me Black Widow's coming on your birthday. Good stuff. So, we covered Chandler. Rob said you were watching stuff.
Yeah, I watch some Cowboy Bebop. I cry when people, father-son stuff now gets me. Not even father-son, father-daughter, son-mom, anything with parents.
Dude,
sentimental things
get me hard.
It's so true. Juan, who's been on the show, he's got 2 sons now, and we also have a shared love of Queen, the band. And I said, "Yo, you gotta listen to this song. It's like not on their greatest hits. It's like kind of like a cool gem off their second album, and it's called Father to Son." And he's like, "I can't do it." What do you mean you can't do it? I'm gonna cry. You haven't even heard the song. I know I'm gonna cry. I'm like, dude, it's a fucking rock song. Great fucking guitar riffs. I'm gonna cry.
It'll happen.
Like, all right.
It's certain. Yeah.
Points for self-awareness.
Yeah, you can't watch anything with like animals.
Oh God,
it's
no.
Odd.
No.
Like, don't. It's like if an animal dies or if he's just a little uncomfortable. I can't.
It's true. That's why John Wick speaks to me, because I feel like that would be my response.
Aww.
If anything happened to Domino.
I cry
now.
easy.
Yeah.
Like when in the Marvel movies, I've cried at like a dozen of them. Every time Captain America is just like really Captain America-y, I like tear up.
Oh. I teared up at the end of Guardians Volume 2 when
I did too.
they had the funeral. That was like,
I'm trying to think if I cried in a Marvel movie.
Every
I feel
single
like I
time I watch the first Avenger and he says he doesn't like bullies, every time I tear up.
Well, that's just because they just got the character
got it
so
so
well
right.
in one line. Well, that's what I liked about those writers, because he even has that in Avengers, not as poetic, but when he meets Bruce Banner and he's like, "Oh, word is you can find the cube," and he's like, "That's not the only word," and he says, "Well, it's the only word I care about," and it's like, "Oh, that's a good Steve,"
Yeah, no, the only Marvel movie I ever cried in, it wasn't even in the movie. It was after the movie.
Is it Infinity War?
It was Infinity War because of Peter Parker, and I burst into tears and started my period early because I was so traumatized.
Yeah. I think I want to say I got teared up in Endgame, but I think in Endgame I was too much in a state of shock.
Yeah.
That I was like seeing all that I was seeing, like you'd think I would have burst into tears him lifting the hammer, and I think it was just like, oh, this is happening. Okay.
I didn't tear up at that part. I was just like, oh yeah, I teared up at the like on your left, and everybody starts shooting in.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was so good.
I also teared up in that Hype trailer they just released recently, and they showed the movie theater scene of that happening.
Yeah.
But that was also just like, I miss the movies. I miss humans.
Yeah. I think the last time a movie really fucking got me to cry, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. And I did not think that was going to happen. It was like, because people I had seen the first 2 movies with fucking bawled. Like, Boromir dies, Fellowship breaks up, 2 towers become 2, people cry. And so I had buddy was like, I know you're gonna cry in this one. Like, I know you're gonna cry. Like, I haven't cried in the other 2. I'm not gonna cry in this one. And it was the scene when Frodo leaves and he kisses Sam's forehead. I didn't like. It was like. Oh, it was full on like. I think because it was just like over. When Frodo says, my part of the story is over. It's your turn. These pages are left. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. I like it. Fucking wrecked me. And I remember before we left, I turned to my buddy. I was like, "Hey, do I look okay?" Like, "Oh, you look fine."
Mascara's running.
Come out into the lights of the lobby. I'm fucking beat red. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, Paul!" I'm like, "You said I looked okay." And on that note, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You know where to find us. Drop us some love. What's our email?
graphicmultiverse@gmail.com.
Yeah, tell us what we should be checking out. Give us
And tonight when you're tucking yourselves in bed, take a minute just to wrap yourself up in your warm arms and just whisper to yourself, I love you. Aww. Because you deserve love.
Yeah.
And you really deserve to love yourself. Mm-hmm. Okay, bye.
And have fun exploring the graphic multiverse.